All right, welcome into Healthy Debate. It's a massive, massive day here in New York. Frank is going to do the Iron Man stream. Two Mets games that mean the world to the Mets, and then a Dolphins Monday Night Football game. But I wanted to, so when this airs, we're already going to know the outcome of that. But I kind of wanted to touch on you a little bit about your Mets fandom, as well as some of the walking that's been going on. So let's get into the walking thing. What have been some of the benefits of walking, or what's been, like the biggest thing that you've taken out of this? You've done a year straight now. You're going to do a year straight. What's been the biggest benefit coming out of the walking?
Well, it's been a year now. The year Friday. More energy. Losing weight. I mean, those are the biggest benefits. At one time I was 500 pounds and I couldn't walk 50 feet without being winded. Now I'm walking for 45 minutes, an hour here, there. I'm 15,000 is basically my average a day, more than that now, but 10,000 is my minimum, and it just gives me more energy, more focus, and I'm able to do more.
All right, let's take a quick break from Healthy Debate to tell you about our friends at DraftKings. TD, Tutty, taking it to the house, in for 6. Whatever you call a touchdown, one thing's for sure. Touchdowns matter more at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. On the ground, in the air, from special teams or defense, we don't care how they score them. We just want to bet on touchdowns. And DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a touchdown or how many TDs will be scored in a game. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. There's available lines on everybody from Travis Kelce to Tyreek Hill, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts. You got everybody available. Check out the games coming up for the next coming weekend. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code RICO. That's code RICO for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. You want to touch on the results? What are you down to?
327. And I was 383 last August.
So about 60 pounds.
Yep.
That's awesome. What has been like the coolest message of people you've inspired?
That people who have had their own health struggles are walking because of me.
Yeah.
We got Don, who's battling cancer. We got Dan, another guy who's had some cancer issues. We have, I always blank on the guy's name.
Big fans?
Yeah, just big fans. I got a guy who's in heart failure that tells me, and then I get like more and more people every day.
Which state was the one that surprised you the most of a walk you enjoyed?
Which
state was the one you were like, oh wow, that's the coolest state I've been to?
Well, I walked alongside the Grand Canyon on a snowy, cold morning. That was a majestic walk. Some of the more interesting walks, I had a good walk alongside the Lake Michigan in Wisconsin. That was a good one.
It kind of started with Shane Gillis, right? The walk at the Notre Dame
it really
stadium.
did. It really did. Just someone just made a remark, hey, we should do this more often. You should do this. I said, yeah, well, I used to try to walk every day, and then I just got out of the habit. And we just started.
What is the future of Frank Walks?
Hopefully more big interviews. I got some good episodes out. Maybe one day settle the beef with Steve Cohen.
Okay. Who's the white whale? Is Steve Cohen the white whale?
He's one of the white whales. Probably the biggest one because of just the issues he has in blocking me.
Who else would be on that white whale list?
Dan Marino, of course.
Okay.
Mark Converdor.
Okay.
I would have had Dwight Gooden on there, but he actually did do a walk. Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez.
Yeah, Gary, Keith, and Ron would be a cool one.
Yeah.
If you get all three.
Yep.
All right, so let's touch on the Mets. I think you've told this story a bunch of times, but why do you root for the Mets?
Yes. I happened to be 9 years old when Dwight Gooden was dominating. And while everyone else in my family was Yankee fans, the Yankees were kind of like down at the time. All they had was they had good players, but they just couldn't get over the hump. The Mets were just more exciting and more interesting.
What are some of your best memories early on as a fan?
Well, 86.
Yep.
That was a good one. Dwight Gooden, obviously, when he went 24-4 in 1985. I think the Cy Young vote came down on my birthday.
How much of those years do you remember? You remember watching those games in and out every night? like you do now?
Not like I do now, but I do remember it very well.
That 86 team, they've obviously made documentaries and different things like that.
I'll tell you something that people don't realize. That 85 team was almost as good.
Really?
They lost Dallas. They had like this, at the end of May, the Mets just ran into this injury issue. It started with Dallas Strawberry. He missed about a month with a torn thumb ligament. Then they missed. Gary Carter was out for a couple of weeks. They just went through like a rash of injuries. Ray Knight had a terrible season in 1985, and during this stretch, the Mets played sub 500 baseball, and they fell out of first place. They put themselves in a little bit of a hole, but come September, they were back in the race. They were back battling the Cardinals tooth and nail, and they won 98 games with a 4 to 6 week stretch in May and June where
they were terrible.
They just had so many. They lost the game to the Phillies like 26-7.
Who did they get knocked out by in '85?
Cardinals.
In what? The NLCS?
There was no NLCS. There was only you won the division, and the Cardinals won 101 games, finished 3 games ahead of the Mets.
So it was just the one playoff.
Yeah.
There were only 2 divisions.
Yes.
So they lost in the NLCS, basically.
No, well, NLDS.
Oh, NLDS.
Yeah, it was basically they had to go to. They went to in September. Both teams were playing really well.
Okay.
And they had to go to St. Louis and win a 3-game. They had to sweep a 3-game series. They won the first 2 and then lost game 3. Came out and the Cardinals were basically just had to win 2 of the last 3 games they were in, and
okay.
The Mets got eliminated on the last day of the season.
Oh, so they didn't even make the playoffs?
No, there was only 2.
Oh, okay, got it. There were 2 divisions and they didn't even make the playoffs that time.
Yeah, there was
no wild card, no nothing.
No.
So it was just the CS, basically. You win the 2 divisions and that was it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the 98 wins and finished 3 games behind the Cardinals, and they really were a good team.
Yeah,
they really
85 was just as good as 86.
And it was just had a
little hiccup.
Little hiccup.
Okay. What are some of your best memories attending Mets games? The games you've attended personally.
One of my favorite games is the first time I ever went to opening day. The Mets faced Curt Schilling that day, and it was a 14-inning until Alberto Castillo got the walk-off hit.
Mets always play extra inning games, especially on opening day, I feel like.
And it was 1-0 final. So it was 14 innings of just nobody can score a run.
What year was this?
1998.
1998. Yeah, it feels like they always played extra inning games on opening day.
Yeah.
Feels like the Mets play extra inning games in general. Have we played the most extra inning games? Do you know if that's a fact?
I don't know about this year, but I do know. I do know one thing about the Mets is they have a propensity of playing long games.
Yes, 20 innings, 25 innings, right?
Yep. Yeah, they have a history of that. Of course, and when the before the pitch clock, the Mets I think didn't have one game that was less than 3 hours.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
They always play long games.
This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Sport Water, the alkaline water that provides real hydration with electrolytes for taste. Everyone around the office is drinking it. You see the Body Armor fridges. I got doubled up because I need Body Armor after a long week. Head on over to your local 7-Eleven and get Body Armor Sport Water today.
What are some of your favorite players throughout the years?
Dwight Gooden, obviously. Keith Hernandez, Mike Piazza, Howard Johnson.
What about this year's team?
I've gotten new respect for Lindor.
Yes, I think he's been playing since he called that team meeting. He's been playing super hot. What about Vientos?
I just hope he gets off to Vientos had a great year.
You think Vientos is a superstar in the making?
I think he can be. I think Vientos, even though he's had a horrible second half. J.D. Martinez. I think Vientos could be like a young J.D. Martinez.
Okay. J.D. Martinez had a good career.
Yeah, I just think he looks dumb. He looks dumb.
Let's talk baseball in general. Do you think the game is dying to a degree?
like less kids are playing, there's less baseball fields. And I also have an idea. I think you should walk on a baseball field more often. When you go to these games, after a game, if you took a walk along a baseball field, I think that'd be a scenic thing.
It'd be nice.
But baseball, yeah. Baseball in general. Do you think the game is...
I sometimes walk when I'm on my own. Yesterday, in the rain, there's a park on the border of Nutley and Clifton. I walked by that field.
Yeah.
But baseball's in trouble. And a major reason is you got a commissioner that is just awful in every way. The Oakland A's mess, that is pathetic what's happened there.
How would you get like the youth involved, or do you think less kids play it? Like, what do you think is going on in terms of the development of sports? Because you walk by baseball fields and they're empty.
Yeah, less kids are playing it. Well, first off, you got kids who just on their devices.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you just don't have the time. You should have just more people just play baseball. Just learn how to play baseball. If you start them off with t-ball, start them off with football, and baseball needs to market itself. Make these kids have like baseball players to look up to. I mean, baseball is pathetic when it comes to marketing.
Yeah. Do you think it's a little bit of a money thing too? Like, times are tough for a lot of people in the world right now. Do you think a basketball, you play in a basketball team, you don't have to buy anything. You're just buying a pair of shorts, one pair of sneakers, and 5 kids can go out in the street and play in a ball. Baseball, you got to buy a glove, you got to buy a bat, you're buying spikes. Like, it's a little bit more money. Travel with tournaments and stuff like that. You can't just go out on your street and really play baseball. Do you think that factors into the money aspect of it?
But you can.
Yeah.
You can't play. You can play with football.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
You don't have to have spikes if you just go to a school. That's organized baseball has spikes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It hurts the organized baseball aspect of it.
But you start out by having the people go out there and play a little bit wiffle ball. Start with wiffle ball. Then then you go to Little League. Then these teams need to be donating more and more equipment, used equipment. And just,
yeah, do you think a lot of it falls on the professional teams too, giving back?
Yes, and the commissioner who just does not care about baseball, I think.
Right. All right, what improvements would you make to Citi Field?
Well,
and also, what is your rating of the stadium in general? It's definitely better than Yankee Stadium.
It's a good stadium.
Is it better than Shea, is the question.
Yes. Shea Stadium was antiquated.
It was a dump, but it was our dump. You know what I mean? That's why I liked it about it.
It was antiquated.
Yeah. What would you make to Citi Field?
I think the main thing you have to do with Citi Field is you got to build the outside of Citi Field up. It sucks when you can walk out there and you see these old chop shops, and even though they're facing them out, it's not good to watch. Look at those just eyesores.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to other places like I was in Cincinnati. They have restaurants and bars and hotels all around there. There's like a ballpark village, and I know Steve Cohen wants to do that. I mean, of course, you don't want to. They don't want to put a casino there. Whether you get the casino or not, I don't care. I think a casino would be a good idea, but they got to do something anyway. They're building a soccer stadium, which is going to help, but you just got to build the whole area up. Get rid of you shouldn't walk outside and see these old Kwanzaa huts
shops and stuff
that
like
are just rot. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look visually appealing. Inside, they just make just minor improvements here and there. That's all. I think that they should repaint or put up retired numbers every year. A couple of them look like they're starting to get a little sun faded out there, but. Other than that, just like minor, just like little things in here.
What's the overall grade of the food? Some of the favorite food you get.
I think Citi Field has the best food of any stadium in any sport venue ever.
Really?
Yes.
What's the cream of the crop?
It's the Pat LaFrida steak.
Okay. How about the hot dogs?
Hot dogs are stadium hot dogs. If you know where to get the right hot dogs, you can find good hot dogs. But first off, never buy a hot dog off a guy that's got the thing. The guy who's walking up and down the stands, the hot dogs that are in there are trash.
Okay.
Always going to be trash.
All right.
Any hot dog place where you see that the hot dogs are kept in a drawer are trash.
What's the gold standard at a baseball game in general in terms of the meal? Is it the hot dog? Is it?
Well, hot dog's traditional.
Okay.
You got to get good chicken tenders. That's also pretty good.
Okay.
But
and what about the stadium ice cream cup?
Well, I'm not an ice cream guy, but
really?
Yep.
But stadium on a hot summer night, that's a nice little treat in the 8th inning when you have the game wrapped up. You know what I mean? Up 6-0.
And
you can miss a little bit. That's not a bad little
out
treat.
Of the helmet.
Yes, got to be out of the helmet. Then you save the helmet, you keep it in the
in
the thing. All right, without going kind of completely off the rails, let's talk about some of the worst losses that you've ever seen in person. Worst loss you've ever watched, and then worst loss in person.
The worst loss I ever watched. The worst loss in person has to be last game ever at Shea Stadium.
Yes. When they blew the division.
When they blew the division, blew the wild card, and then you're sitting there feeling numb, and they're bringing back all these old Mets to touch home plate for the last time.
Yeah, it was a very, very upsetting time. Yeah. I think the worst loss I ever had was Halloween night, Game 4 of the World Series, when Conforto hit the 2 homers, and then we threw the ball away. Yeah. That was a pretty bad one.
Worst loss to me. And I am a little older than everyone else. Game 4, 1988 NLCS. Up 3-1. Mike Scioscia hits a 2-run homer. Up 4-2. About to go up 3-1 in the series. And Mike Scioscia hits a 2-run homer. Lose the game in extra innings. Lose the series in 7 games. And for some reason, Dwight Gooden reaching 140 pitches. Davey Johnson tried to have him finish a complete game.
Oof.
And you know, Davey Johnson, there's been a movement trying to get him in the Hall of Fame because of how many teams he took to division titles. He only won 1 World Series. And I think a large reason why the Mets only won World Series is because Davey Johnson, in big games,
was not a great
shit
manager.
The bed every time. In fact, look at Game 6. The ultimate bailout. Bill Buckner bailed Davey Johnson out more than anyone who's ever been bailed out before. We remember the era. We remember the Mets' amazing comeback. We remember that they were dead. Davey Johnson's managing in Game 6 is not just bad. It's historically just like, did someone remove his brain band?
And it gets covered up because of the great comeback.
First off,
what did he do so bad? I'm not familiar with this. Because it all gets buried in the lore of the comeback.
You know, it worked out because Kevin Mitchell got a hit. He double switched Darryl Strawberry out of the game.
Yes, I do remember that.
Then, in the 9th inning, he pinch hit Kevin Elster, who had been put in the game for defense and because of double switching and just shifting everything around. Kevin Elster, who basically couldn't hit.
Right.
He was a rookie. He was just up for his glove. He had Kevin Elster coming up, and he had first and second, nobody out after a misplay. Instead of having Kevin Elster, who probably could lay down a bunt, he sent up Howard Johnson as a pinch hitter who could not bunt. With the winning run on
second base.
If he could have gotten the bunt down and moved the runner to third, Lee Mazzilli came up next batter, hit a long fly ball, would have won the game.
Scored the game.
I mean, just those 2 decisions alone would have been those. If that Bill Buckner error doesn't happen, those would be talked about for eons.
Worst players ever
on the Mets.
Yeah.
I don't think one was worse to the Mets organization than Vince Coleman.
Yeah, he threw a firecracker at somebody. Did he do that while he was a Met, or he did that somewhere else?
Did that while he was a
Met? Walk me through how bad that '93 team was. I know they had Generation K. Like, why was it? It was the best.
That was before Generation K.
Okay.
basically, the Mets decided the Mets got embarrassed by the '86. These stodgy owners, Frank Cashin, they're almost ashamed that the Mets won the World Series that year because of just how all their antics. So slowly but surely, he began dismantling the team. And one way he started was in 1988, and it's the reason they didn't win in '88. Like, dozens of Mets have come out and said Greg Jeffries was such a negative force on the team. And Greg Jeffries was this rookie, 21 years old. Everyone hyped up to. If it's April 1989. If one kid had a card that was the golden ticket now is the Griffey rookie card.
Right.
And try to offer it for a Jeffries, he wouldn't get it.
Yeah, Greg Jeffries was that big of a deal.
Oh, I don't want just Griffey. Give me Jeffries.
Yeah, he was that big of a deal.
It was that big of a deal. So, and he hit really well in '88, but behind the scenes, he was an asshole.
Right.
Like, he had his own bats. And basically, the Mets gave a rookie special treatment.
Okay.
So, he had his own bats, and, like, Keith Hernandez picked up one of the bats, and, like, and Greg Jeffries was snippy at him. So, the story I've heard is that Roger McDowell pissed on the bats to, like, send him a message. And Jeffries was already being built up as he's 21, but he's your future. And basically, they started talking to him. He was like friendly with the organization, and he was like, this guy's doing that, this guy's doing that. He's like kind of like telling people, and it basically it's like the Mets organization themselves put him on a pedestal, and the veterans say, "See, this is who you should be."
Right, got it.
And it like really like affected everything negatively. So after '91, they traded Jeffries, retool. Of course, they let Dal Strawberry go a year earlier. Vince Coleman was signed after leading the league in stolen bases 6 straight years, tormenting the Mets, injured in '91. So '92, they tried to bring everything back. Dwight Gooden's coming back from injury. The Seinfeld episode where the guys on the subway says, "Look at the rotation we got this year." I mean, that is the mindset going into the '92 season.
How good it was.
They had the slogan, "Hardball is back." They hired Jeff Torborg, who had been manager of the year, and everyone expected everything to work out. Bobby Bonilla signed the biggest contract. They had the highest payroll in baseball. And Bobby Bonilla comes out and says, no one's going to be able to take the smile off my face. And the press went, challenge accepted. And it fell apart quickly.
Yep.
April, May, they were bad. By Coleman's hurt again. Bonilla's struggling. Bonilla dropped a fly ball or had to misplay the ball and was called an error. He missed his at bat because he went up to the press box. So they had to take him out again. They didn't know where he went. He went at the press box to like yell at the guy who gave him an error.
Gave him an error?
Yes.
During the game?
During the game.
Yeah, so it's just...
So that came out.
Yeah.
So everything was a disaster. At the end of the year, they decided, okay, we got to retool. They trade David Cohn. And the '93 Mets kind of limped into the season. Didn't do anything to improve. Didn't do anything to like retool. It was just like, okay, whatever. So '93, total disaster. The book comes out. Vince Bonilla's like still pissed off. The smile's gone.
Right.
Then Vince Coleman throws the firecracker with the negative press all around him. And Brett Saberhagen, who had good years at the Mets, but the Mets were just so bad people forget about it. Took a super soaker with bleach, and while all the press is like interviewing the players, started like Rambo on all these like
on their suits and stuff. Yeah,
like that. with Clorox.
Yeah. So they were just bad guys.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is the '86 guys were bad guys, but they could win.
Yes.
You can't be a bad guy and lose. So.
Right.
The '93 team is the worst, and Vince Coleman's the guy on that. All right, let's touch into this year to kind of end it and wrap it up. True, take the yelling, the biting the shirt, take it all away. Do we win one of these 2 games today?
You have to.
But will they? Like, heart of hearts, do you think that this team, because they've shown a lot of fight. Like, what's been some of the fun parts of this season? They've shown a lot of fight. Lindor, I think, is a champion, a true MVP candidate. I think, heart of hearts, do they win one today?
I think
it's going to air after, so we can run the clip in and the score as it pops up. But.
I think they that Schnellenbacher. They can't touch him. He just fucking eats their lunch. So you're gonna have a Braves team, game 2, that's gonna be looking up at the sky and going, oh, we got to be in San Diego tomorrow. We're playing 18 innings. You know, I don't want to be on the field.
Right. So you think we get the mercy win in game 2?
We get like a Braves team that just wants to get off the field. They're going to swing at everything. They're going to have like backups in there. You're going to have a lot of people who aren't even like playing. You won't face Sale. You'll have like the back end of the bullpen because you don't want to waste any like good pitcher. And the Mets will find a way to win that game.
All right, let's take a quick break from Healthy Debate to tell you about the DK Crown of the Week. This week's DK Crown of the Week, it's going to be a 2-time winner, Frank the Tank. He's doing an Ironman stream on Monday, 2 Mets games with the Mets season on the line, and a Dolphins game. That shows guts, shows heart, shows reliability. You know who else has guts, heart, and reliability is the best in the business? DraftKings. Our partner DraftKings is hooking up all new customers who bet $5 who will instantly get $200 in bonus bets. Follow all your favorite Barstool personalities picks in the Barstool betting group in the DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers use promo code RICO and bet $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code RICO, only on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The crown is yours.
All right, so we win the mercy in game 2. Looking forward if we make the playoffs. What is the real upside to this team? Is this really a spunk? Because you've seen teams kind of sneak in and be spunky. We got a great rotation. We got a lot of bats. You got a superstar in Lindor who could go off. You got Alonso who could get hot. I know he's been struggling, but like, what's the real ups? What's a win for this season? Getting knocked out in the wild card or getting knocked out in the DS?
You get the division series. I mean, that's just something.
Yeah, it's something to build on, right?
Yeah. You get in the wild card, it's something to build on.
Could you be really mad about that if we lose in the DS?
No.
Okay. All right, that's progress, folks.
Even if they lose in the wild card, it's something that you could build off of.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, Vientos moving forward.
But you just can't have the psychological of just going down in Atlanta and getting swept again.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a big thing to overcome. If you get over the big mountain, that would be something. So we're gonna find out as we go. Frank's doing the Ironman today. Man in the arena. Frank, thanks for being on Healthy Debate.
All right.